Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Pharma Learning with Deepika. In my previous video, I have already discussed with you about the pharmaceutical engineering first chapter, that is flow of fluid. Now today we are going to discuss about the second chapter, that is size reduction. So in size reduction, basically size means a physical dimension of an object. And what is reduction? Reduction refers to a decrement or the process of decreasing the size. So the full meaning of size reduction is the operation carried out for reducing the size of a bigger particle into a smaller one of desired size and shape with the help of external forces. So one more terms we can give to the size reduction, that is comminution. Now what is the definition of size reduction? Size reduction is a process of reducing large solid units or substance into a smaller unit mass or a coarse particles into a fine particles. So size reduction process is also termed as comminution, diminution or pulverization. So these three terms we can use for size reduction. Now in what kind of size the powder can be reduced? So the types of powders like coarse powder, moderate fine powder and very fine powder. So first is the coarse powder. What is the specification of coarse powder? That is 10/44. So what it stands, 10/44, what it stands basically, it is the powder that the particles of which pass through a sieve number 10. So the coarse powder pass through sieve number 10 and not more than 40% through sieve number 44. So this is usually referred to as 10/44 powder, which we called it as a coarse powder. Now let's talk about the moderate fine powder. So moderate fine powder basically a powder which is passed through sieve number 44, and when we pass it with the sieve number 85, then 40%, not more than 40% it can pass. Now let's talk about the fine powders. So fine powders are those powders which pass through sieve number 85, but when we pass it through the sieve number 120, then only 40% or not more than 40% can pass through sieve number 120. And very fine powder, so very fine powder is passed through sieve number 120, and when we use sieve number 340 for that, then only 40% or not more than 40% can pass through sieve number 350. Now the process of size reduction. So size reduction may be achieved by two methods. First one is the precipitation method and second one is the mechanical process. So let's talk about the precipitation method. So in a precipitation method, the substance having a large particle size, we can dissolve it into a solvent, then we'll get a mixture plus another solvent. So that mixture is the precipitation of any material. So we got that precipitated into a reduced site. So the example of the materials which we can reduce by this precipitation method, that is calcium carbonate, yellow mercuric oxide or bulk drugs. So here in this diagram we are taking copper sulfate solution, means copper is dissolved in a solution of sodium hydroxide, and then we got the solid copper hydroxide in colorless sodium sulfate solution. Now the mechanical process. So in mechanical process we take a substance which size has to be reduced, then mechanical force is applied onto that material or substance, that is the grinding equipment we can use like the ball mill, colloidal mill, etc. for the reduction of the size. Then we got the particles into a reduced size. So example like dry grinding in tablet and capsules, wet grinding in suspension, emulsion and ointment. So this is the diagram where we are taking the material whose size to be reduced and with the help of balls, or this is a diagram of a ball mill. So with the help of a ball it moves and the size of the material can reduced. Then what are the objective of size reduction? So there are different objectives and application we can say for the size reduction. Like in the material processing industry, size reduction or combination is usually carried out in order to high surface area shows a rapid rate of dissolution. So we can say that increase the surface area, because in most of the reaction involving in solid particles, the rate of reaction is directly proportional to the area of contact with the second phase. So high surface area shows the rapid rate of dissolution. Then fine powders have increased surface area and contact with the solvent, and to enhance the rate of drying. Next objective is to improve the mixing and minimize the segregation. The next objective is a topical preparation having a good spreadability and to increase the adsorption property, example the kaolin. So next objective is fine aerosol particles better enter in the lungs, example inhalers in asthmas. And next objective is the cosmetic containing fine powders are gritty and smooth to apply. Next objective is to increase the therapeutic effectiveness, example progesterone. And the stability of emulsion is also increases by decreasing the size of oil globules. And the physical appearance of the ointment, paste and creams can also be improved by reducing its particle size. Then increase in antiseptic actions for calamine ointment when the particle size of calomel is reduced. Then to improve the handling characteristics, to mix the solid particle more intimately, to achieve the intimate mixing, to dispose the solid waste easily. So these are the basic objective. Now what are the advantages, application, significance of size reduction? That is content uniformity. Then we can achieve the uniform flow by reducing the size of a particle. Then we got the effective extraction of the drug. Then we got the effective drying. Then we got the improved physical stability, improved dissolution rate and improved rate of absorption. These are the advantages of size reduction. Then what are the disadvantages? Because certain limitations are also there with everything. So the disadvantages, basically we got the drug disintegration and contamination is the main disadvantages. Then the fine powders due to increase in surface area may forms the lumps. So other disadvantages like it can form lumps. Then size reduction may lead to the physiochemical instability. Stability. Example, loss of volatile matter, softening, melting. And the fine powders are more reactive. They are more reactive in nature, fine powders. So these are the disadvantages. Now what are the factors affecting size reduction? So these are the following factors which can affect the size reduction. First one is the hardness, toughness, abrasiveness, stickiness, softening temperature, material structure, moisture content, physiological effect, purity required, ratio of feed size of product ratio and bulk density. So these are the factors. First one is the hardness. So basically hardness, it is the surface property of any material. It is frequently confused with the property named strength. Thus it is possible for a material to be very hard. If it is brittle also, then the size reduction may present no special problem. So an arbitrary scale of hardness has been devised known as the Morse scale. So if Morse scale is equals to 1, then it is for graphite, and if Morse scale is less than 3, then the material is soft, and if Morse scale is greater than 7, then the material is hard, and if Mohs scale is equal to 10, then it is a diamond. So the harder is the material, the more difficult to reduce the size of a material. Now the material structure. So some substances are homogeneous in character. So material substance may have a line of weakness along with the material split to form a flakes-like particles. So vegetable drugs have a cellular structure often leading to a long fibrous particle. So material structure is also very affect the size of the particle, reduction of the size of the particle. Then abrasiveness. So abrasiveness is a property of the hard material, particularly those of mineral origin, and may limit the type of machinery that can be used. So if the material have rough irregular surface and weak intermolecular bonding at the surface, then it also affect the size reduction. Then the softening temperature. So during size reduction process, sometimes heat is generated which may cause some substance to soften, and the temperature at which this occurs can be important. So waxy substance such as the stearic acid or a drug containing oils or fats are the example that may be affected. So some methods can be used to overcome this, like the cooling of the mill either by water jacketed or by passing the stream of air through the equipment. Then the friability. So the friability of a material is the tendency to fracture during the normal handling. So in general, a crystalline material will break along well-defined planes, and the powder required for crushing will increases as the particle sizes reduces. Now the stickiness. So stickiness is the property that causes considerable difficulty in size reduction, for material may adhere to the grinding surfaces or the meshes of the screen may become clogged. So it is very difficult to reduce the size of sticky materials. Example: gum acacia, kaolin. Now the soapiness. So in general, some materials are there, so which are having some soapiness nature. So this is a measure of the coefficient of friction of the surface of the material. If the coefficient of friction is low, then the crushing may be more difficult. Now explosive. So some materials are having explosive nature, so such materials must be ground weight or in presence of an inert atmosphere. Material yielding dust that are harmful to the health. So such material must be ground under the condition where the dust is not allowed to escape. Now there are some more factors like low melting point. So low melting powders may become soft and sticky. Example: ibuprofen wax, polyethylene glycol. These are the materials. Then the layered structure. So some substance like minerals have weak lines or layer that is split easily. Example: shells used in the shank bhasma. So layered structure. Then the moisture content. So the moisture content influences a number of properties that can affect the size reduction. For example: hardness, toughness or stickiness. Example: less than 5% is suitable in moisture content. Now let's talk about the bulk density. Bulk density. Light the weight bulky powder require bigger hopper. Example: starch and powder. Then the degree of size reduction. Degree of size reduction. So it is advisable to reduce the particle size not in one operation because it undergoes softening, melting and may lead to the thermal degradation due to heat generation. So the degree of size reduction is very important. Till what degree we have to reduce the size of a particle. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel Pharma Learning with Deepika. Stay safe and healthy. Bye bye. Take care.